Welcome back, everybody. Today's video we're going to be taking a look at Fly the Line short haul edition by our friends over at Just Flight for Microsoft Flight Simulator and others like xPlane. So I've been given early access thanks to our friends at Just Flight, and I've spent a little while kind of fiddling around and getting used to this. It's actually really quite easy to set up, so I've reset the entire app, got into it, and I can type in profile name like so, and you can cycle through a variety of I think sort of AI generated generic people, I think. So you can find one. There's actually quite a lot available that somewhat closely resembles perhaps yourself, or you could just grey yourself off if you wish. I'm going to go with that chap there. You can actually as well, if you want to, upload your own picture as well, which is quite nice, and you can pick specific sort of traits. And then we have sort of optional tabs. So basically Fly the Line allows you to have 3 different modes for airline operations. There's a career mode, which is what we've got set to at the moment, which is basically starting with very little money, working your way up from a very junior first officer flying very small aeroplanes, a limited kind of thing. Build yourself up over many hours and all that sort of thing. There's free play, so you can basically just do what you want, fly what you want, have that flexibility as well, or schedule as well. So the schedule mode is a bit different to career mode. Career mode focuses on a load of other stuff as well, like rest, well-being, all that kind of thing, in addition to completing your flights. Schedule is basically all of the flying elements where you just fly your schedule without having to manage the lifestyle or character elements of this. So effectively you've got 3 different options depending on how much immersion you want. You've got diversions which could take place, medical reasons, whatever. You can actually set that to rare if you want, frequent or occasional, and you can actually, if you wish to, specify specific flight durations as well, depending on how much time you might have. Now, real world airlines, there are a lot available, and you can effectively select which one you want. So the likes of EasyJet, TUI, so on and so forth. You can also, if you want to, set up your own virtual airline. So those of you who fly for Osprey Airways, you can actually configure your personal profile to fly as a pilot with Osprey Airways, which is nice. They've kind of facilitated that. So you can see here, if I just type away through various things, there's EasyJet based at Gatwick. You can clear it. You can type in your ICAO codes like so. If you pick a real world airline, it will specify your base route for you, but actually you can select them if you want to. So if you want to be Gatwick based, for example, then you can select that, but note that's going to be long haul only for British Airways. If I go to EFW, which is Euroflyer, it's not currently in the system yet, or Griffin as it is known as. You could also upload the logos. There we go, we get the Osprey Airways logo put on there. You could do the same with your headshot like we mentioned a moment ago. Manchester Airport for our base. And in advanced mode you can set various different things as well. So you can put exclusions on if you really don't want to fly to specific areas. For example, Russia. You can go ahead and select that in this big old list of countries like so, and you can click exclude and it'll add that in. You can do entire regions if you want to as well, and you can just tweak all this as you wish. Make your own personal kind of world, if you like. So I've set our Manchester route. I've gone ahead and asked it to recalculate some routes. Look at that, it's giving me loads. Lorient, south of Brittany. So this is schedule mode, which allows you to effectively fly whatever schedules you want. You could do 2 sectors a month, for example, if you want to. It will illuminate or select or highlight your add-on airports in red if they are third-party add-on airports, which is a nice touch. It's a very easy way for you to just very quickly see, right, what airports have I got? Bergen, for example. Perfect. You can accept those routes if you want to, and then you can schedule, create a schedule. So it will do a little bit of work in the background. Now, the career mode for me is probably something I wouldn't necessarily bother with, but we'll take a look at some point in the future with another video perhaps, or maybe I'll do it towards the end of this video to have a little look in relation to what that might look like in comparison. But schedule mode and free flight mode I think will be most popular, unless you really want to chase that real world career type mode that it offers, which is pretty good. Certainly seems to offer quite a lot. As it's loading, career mode, for example, that's the bread and butter of this program. So it's really immersive. It captures the full scope of an airline pilot's professional life. So you've got the flight deck stuff and all the stuff behind the scenes. So you start as a junior first officer, big ambitions, very small bank balance, and you would select your airline's hub, and it will generate a dynamic route based, like network based on that airline that you've selected. If it's a real world carrier, then the system will pull authentic schedule databases in to create realistic flight rosters, and then you basically try and get hired. You'll then have a detailed roster selected for you, outlining the assigned routes that you've got, the departure times and the days of the week. But the schedules are synced with simulator time. So if, for example, your report is at 4 AM for a flight out somewhere, you don't need to get up at 4 AM to load the sim up. You can just scroll the simulator time to that departure point. With career mode, as you complete flights, you earn money, XP, skill points. The XP is what accelerates your progression through the ranks. Earnings can be used to enhance your lifestyle on and off duty as well. So the career mode will involve personal well-being being managed as well. So you have a home effectively. Think Sims. You can upgrade your home, enjoy leisure activities, improve your daily commute. Health, job performance, fatigue, personal life, mood, all of that is influencing career mode. But only the flying element, the raw flying part, is in schedule, which is what we're using today. So we've gone ahead and it's generated that big old route network. We can select our own aircraft using the specific templates. And you can choose what you might want to fly. So we can set up the 737 MAX 8, for example. Once you've configured it all, set up as you want, you can skip through it if you wish. You can then just go ahead and press continue. And then it gives you some prompts. I should have said at the start, this does require FSU IPC or XP UIPC if you're on xPlane. And it will give you there a little bit of a before you start thing. So avoid using instant replay after your flight. Start at the stand gate. Make sure you allow 3 minutes for engines to stabilize before takeoff and the landing. Accurate flight times. Don't forget to end your flights, all that kind of thing. So some prompts there to help you. You can see there what it's done is it's given us a bit of a route log for today. So we're a junior first officer level 1. It has a plethora of statistics for us. And it's telling us today that our first sector is going to be out to Berlin Brandenburg. And it says 6:35 local in the morning. So in the sim, we can go ahead and set 6 AM-ish approximately as the start time for our flight today. Because that's what we're going to have to do. So I'm going to go ahead, load in, we'll see what it does. So once you're in, you can go ahead and prep your aeroplane. Make sure all the lights and signs and things are all set up as you need. And on the program you can just go ahead and press dispatch. It'll ask for you to choose a profile. In the settings, that's where you put in your SimBrief ID, by the way. And you can amend your cruise altitude. And by pressing Open SimBrief, what it does is it loads your browser up and generates your route for you, which is pretty neat. When it's done, you press Apply SimBrief. It will generate kind of your flight plan route into Flight the Line. So you can see it's amended there, the cruise altitude to 39,000 for example. We can then press Go to Aircraft. And it's already now sitting in the background recording the flight. Awesome, so we've got GSX working in the background. We're not flying on VATSIM today just because we want to focus on this a little bit more, and this is running away in the background as well. So it's showing that we're currently parked, 26 minutes till pushback. If I move that to 6:22, 13 minutes to push back. So you can see we've got a bit of a countdown here. And with boarding complete, we can request pushback and get on our way.
10 minutes and we need to be on our way.
You do get, I've just accelerated the time a little bit there just to trigger that. You do get a little countdown, say you've got 10 minutes to push. Just to remind you that on-time performance is key, more so in career mode, but also in the other modes as well, to be fair. We'll pop the anti-collision lights on and we're basically ready for pushback. So providing you push and start within 15 minutes either side of the thing, you should be good.
Release parking brakes.
Okay. So, let's get on our way. Park brake off.
Push. All engines clear. Start at will.
You still naturally need to make sure you operate these aeroplanes as best as possible, as closely as possible to the real thing. Engine start, ignition mode ground, engine 1. Let's get her spinning. So we're pushing back 4 minutes early at the moment, according to the time that we've got. Fuel control lever to idle. Now if you've set things like diversions up to work in the background, what they can do is you might have a disruptive passenger, you might have a medical incident for example, and you will need to dynamically decide where best to divert. Or whether in fact you need to divert, but the program will guide you. As our ground handlers are looking for that ground pin to show that we've got ground power and steering and stuff all sorted out, ready for our flight today. There's a lot of people who have been asking over a number of years now for like a proper career mode, and certainly Microsoft Flight Simulator doesn't really offer that, in fairness. Even the career mode in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 doesn't really offer that, even though it is included in the package. Now pricing of this Fly the Line from our friends at Just Flight, no idea. Not sure really, and I'm not sure what point in July or August it's going to release either. There's the ground pin and the way. Ignition mode continuous, that's all good. We're on dual bleed, packs automatic, isolation valves off, probes automatic. It's now on. Generators. I always forget that in the Boeing 737s. Good old Airbus clunks it across for you. Quick check of the overheads, and that all looks good. We'll leave dual bleed on, and we can pop the APU off. Now in the background, this is kind of assessing everything from taxi speed, general handling, smoothness of operation, on-time performance, your landing rating, and all that kind of stuff as well. How you fly the jet. It is monitoring all of that in the background. It's showing me now as off blocks 0529. It's based off, of course, the simulator time that we have. We taxi out. Now, if you're adding sort of VATSIM to the mix, then you need to bear in mind how busy the airfield is, at what time you might need to request your clearance for pushback and all that sort of thing, so that you're not departing or getting off blocks too late after your scheduled time, because certainly if you're on career mode, that will potentially cost you XP, cash, so on and so forth. Alright, lining up in the iFly 737 MAX 8 with Fly the Line. All set, lights and signs as required, using a slight intersection at Alpha Golf here, because we don't need the full length. Desi 1 Zulu departure, so we'll keep her going. That's set as needed. 40%. The Elite 1As, or the Elite 1Bs in the Boeings, do take a bit of time to spool up. Stable. Toga. On our VNAV's arms. Power set. Speed's alive. 80 knots. V1 rotates. V2. We're in the air. Let's go. Positive rate, gear up. Chasing the flight director. A little bit of an outbound intercept for us to contend with. Gears up. Acceleration altitude 180. Set flaps 1. CMDA engaged. Turn our VNAV. We can then focus on the runway turn off lights. Turn those off. Engine start mode. Select switches to off. Overhead's good. Cabin's starting to pressurise. Flaps up. Order brake off. Like so. 5000 051 LNAV VNAV. Flaps up, no lights. And we'll keep it going through the constraint. I'll set 39. It's going to level off by the time I actually select something though at a higher altitude. Now of course if you're on VATSIM you'd need to make sure that you are selecting appropriate altitudes at all times, making sure you're adhering to air traffic control, so on and so forth. The same goes if you had like Beyond ATC running in the background, for example, as well. So now we're airborne, we can have a little look at Fly the Line. What it's showing you, if I just expand that a little bit for you folks, you can see there on the map our little aeroplane currently passing over Hyde. You can see our routing for today. It's got the climb mode active at the moment, scheduled arrival in 121 minutes, off blocks at 5:29, takeoff 5:39, so it's a 10-minute push start taxi for us today. So there's Sector 1 underway. Just need to carry on flying the jet. So standard pressure, for example, standard pressure, beautiful skies. I can't notice a single change to my performance with this program running in the background either, which is very nice to see, as some programs can run a bit heavy sometimes, depending on what systems you've got. This one seems to be pretty good. So we're going to crack on, and if anything happens in the flight, though I don't envisage it, we'll have that recording and I'll show you that, of course. And if it's uneventful, we'll chat about some features in the cruise on our way to Berlin. Some of the different modes, some of the things you might be able to expect if you were interested in buying a program like this. And going into a bit more depth of those 3 different modes that we have available to us using this program. So we'll go into career mode in a bit more detail, because it is actually kind of the flagship mode within the program, although we are using schedule mode today just to kind of simplify things and show you that actually if you want to cut some of it out you can. It gives you that flexibility, but career mode is like the big one, and within the package there is a manual that talks about all of this in depth as well yourself, but effectively you need at least 1 aircraft in your hangar in order to fly the schedule that's been generated for you. You might get messages, there will be tips, tricks, they might include money, XP rewards, there might be a message from, for example, your training captain keeping you informed about your performance, and after every single flight that you fly in career mode you will gain skill points, and that's how you level up in the scheme of things in this Fly the Line short haul edition. You can spend the skill points on various things, and you'll also after each shift earn holiday time, so if you didn't want to fly for a particular route that you'd been assigned for whatever reason, you can use that holiday accrual to skip a day effectively. You can only take 1 day off at a time. Medicals are simulated within this program as well, so if you are using career mode then you will need to basically visit an Aeromed doctor every 10 days in the program, and that will automatically occur for you every 10th shift, so that feeds into the lifestyle side of things within career mode, being, you know, if you don't look after yourself on and off duty within the Fly the Line system, your health might deteriorate a little bit as well, so you'll then need to pay for quote medication in order to get better so you can fly again. Bank balance is available within it as well, so you have a net worth, which is all of your assets including property that you might have within the system, i.e. your house, and purchases across the program will increase your net worth. As your net worth grows, you'll be able to unlock the ability to buy new assets. You'll then be able to gain entry to clubs like Wings of Wealth once you reach specific milestones. You've got a logbook, loads of different things. Now, Fly the Line does support time compression, so say for example you're in a 737-300ER and you're doing a long haul flight, you only want to do it in 4 hours, not 8. You can use time compression on that. I mean, that's a wild scenario because this is a short haul edition, but you know, the same goes, for example, if you were flying Heathrow to Athens and you didn't want to fly for 4 hours, you wanted to fly in 2. You can use time compression to do that, but it depends very much on whether or not the third-party aircraft you're using allows that feature or not. Now, the schedule mode that we're in today basically strips away the career progression elements of Fly the Line and focuses purely on the airline operations, i.e. you flying the planes. So certainly we've configured for today, as an example, to fly operations linked to Osprey Airways, our channel's virtual airline, which a lot of you fly in. You can add that in into the system as I showed at the start of the video, or you can fly the real world airline operations where it'll take those real authentic flight schedules with real world flight numbers and match it all up for that maximum immersion. So it is up to you, and it all gets added to your personal logbook as you complete those flights. So the whole world's at your fingertip effectively. You can pick very specific airlines around the world if you want to keep things a bit funky, set up multiple profiles, so on and so forth. Free Play is the super flexible version, as we kind of brushed over it briefly at the beginning of the intro of this system, this program. Basically, if you selected Free Play, you've got unlimited cash, skill points, rest days, immediate access to every unlockable feature, all the lifestyle upgrades within Fly the Line, so you don't need to grind away from kind of bottom working through to the top to unlock all of the snazzy features if you're a captain, for example. So for those of you wanting the ultimate flexibility and kind of the minimal immersion that the program has to offer, Free Play is the one to go. Career mode is for those of you who want the kind of real feel of an airline pilot's professional life, including down to kind of managing housing, assets, as well as the flying, the medicals, all that sort of thing. And then the one we're in today, schedules. You can set up the real world ops or your virtual airline ops if you want to, and then have a little bit more flexibility without having to manage the lifestyle element of Fly the Line like you would in career mode. So it's very, very immersive. There's a whole lot of stuff within this system. 3 different dynamic game modes. You can work through promotion, unlock XP, all that kind of thing, just to give you guys a bit of a boost. And for those of you who might struggle sometimes to work out where to fly, Fly the Line Short Haul Edition will sort it out for you. It will do it for you. It will tell you what your route you're going to be flying, the time of day you want to set in the simulator. You can set your aircraft up as you wish, and then you can crack on. As always, let us know what you think in the comments section below. I am interested to hear what you think, whether or not you think it's for you. And no doubt the developers, as always, Just Flight are very proactive with this sort of thing anyway, will be having a look at the comments as well. So do share your genuine honest thoughts. And when we get on the ground in Berlin, we will have a look at our performance analysis. So the detailed stats that we get on takeoff and landing. There'll be a whole lot of graphs for us to look at, so that we can really get granular with our flying ability in this aeroplane. It looks at overpitching, rolling, vertical speed, rates of descent, climb, wind data, touchdown points, and all that kind of stuff. And it'll then save that data in our logbook. We'll have a look at that later as well, so that we can go back and actually track our, maybe track our improvements, our progress. So we will understand the good and the bad of our flying, effectively, at a granular level, which is pretty cool. Now if we go back into career mode briefly, it's so vast it will require, I would imagine, a number of videos to get through and show you the level of detail and the immersion you get from career mode. They've actually simulated an inflation rate and an interest rate that runs in the background. So your property price and the cost of items will literally change month by month based on what the inflation rate is and what the interest rate is in career mode, which is pretty snazzy. Okay, so as we make our way in, we're well into descent, almost time to establish, and as we've got a bit closer, Fly the Line has basically recognised top of descent, and it's instantly gone into the descent mode. It's asked us to select the touchdown zone, or the runway that we're going to be using for it to assess the touchdown zone on. So I've gone ahead and selected 25 left, which is what we're using today. Pressed update map, and it's given me that little display on the bottom left, which is pretty good. It's basically telling us the area that we will be able to score in for our touchdown today into Berlin. Just make that a little bit bigger for you guys. Performance wise, it's worked pretty well. I can't notice any difference in performance whatsoever. It is basically just sitting in the background monitoring everything via FSUI PC7. What I will say is Try not to have the screen kind of open and monitoring it all the time, certainly for touchdowns and things. Fly the aeroplane and rely on your ability basically, and then read the reports afterwards to kind of assess your performance. That's most likely how I would recommend doing this if it was up to me. So I'm going to go ahead and configure the aeroplane for our approach here into Berlin Brandenburg. Our first proper scheduled hop today on Fly the Line. It's very exciting. In the iFly 737 MAX 8 in the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Again, as always, hit like, hit subscribe, and let us know what you think down in the comments below. Some really thick cloud into Berlin at the moment today. Winds, just if you are curious, we're flying with live weather. It's 230 degrees at 5 knots, variable between 170 and 280 degrees. Some low, few cloud at 3,400, scattered at 4,700. 23 degrees. Dew points 15, QNH 1010. Looks like we're about to break at the bottom. High to low, down you go. It's a small little drop in pressure. Set the standby instruments as well. Set flaps 1. Start to extend the flaps. What we're also doing is extending, we're increasing lift, but we're also increasing drag at the same time, so it has a kind of double benefit for us. Okay, established, flaps 10, speeds 180, speed brakes armed, glide slope is armed. Engine start mode selected is on continuous lights, signs. Pressure panel is good, landing elevation is set. Icing as required. Make sure we've set this. Okay, glide slope's alive. Let's get her on the ground and see what score we get. We'll hand fly the last little bit, as we often do on the channel.
$2,500.
Get down, flap 15. Fix rings are for the end of the runway with the DME. Something to bear in mind there, so they are kind of a bit of a misread. And we're landing flap 30 today. Gears down and green. Speed brakes armed. Flap 30 green. Auto brake 2. Land. Set 145 for our VREF plus 5. Keep an eye on the wind. Starts to get wild, I'll add another 5, make it plus 10. Auto throttle disengage. Autopilot off. And flying it in. Pitch and power.
$1,000. $400. $300. Approaching minimums. 200. Minimums.
Continue. Here we go, folks.
100.
Looking ahead.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Touchdown. Maintain that centre line, reverse green. With manual brakes, the reversers weren't active. Vacate here. They armed, but they didn't deploy. Okay, nice smooth speed. Do a little bit of after landing. Flaps up. Speed brake in. Cross lights back to steady. Weather radar, traffic, transponder. Flight directors off. We must caution for the air conditioning. The dual bleed. We shall go ahead and park around Bravo 13, I think, so I'll just go and get that set up on GSX. So it's worth mentioning just before we park up on stand, the version that I've got is an alpha build. It's not the final version. Some features might change prior to release. So if you're kind of looking at this and then you see that something's been tweaked when it does get released, don't be surprised. All of these sort of flights actually help with the development of a product as well. So yeah, any things that might need tweaking, any feedback, suggestions, all that kind of stuff can get fed in to the developers for future updates as well. Entry south. Victor 2. Should be a couple of stands in on the right, so we shall have a look at our report when we shut her down. (16), 15, 14, 13. Lovely job. There we are. Got that taxi light off. Bring it down to about 10 knots the turn. A little bit more speed scrubbing. Here we go. Down to 2 knots. Safe dock on the right. On the left, sorry. Park brakes on. APU's good. GT's and P's are good. Naughty me, forgot to turn the auto brake off. And then we'll go thrust levers to cut off. We'll go ahead, get boarding sorted out. We can transfer to ground power, and then we can eventually basically shut the APU off. And we will now turn our attention to, as all of this is happening around us in the background, fly the line. So let's make that nice and big. There we go. So we've got a little bit of after flight admin to do. We're going to press end flight. It's going to now analyse all of our data to see how we've got on. And there we go. So we've got mostly 96 out of 100, 96%. That's a very good score, to be fair. No negatives. But we've arrived 30 minutes early, so therefore we've lost a few points, I suppose. We made some very good progress. That's the overall summary, but look at, those of you like the granular data, look at this. So takeoff, feedback, flaps were set during taxi, roll stable and acceptable range, heading well maintained including accurate centerline tracking, airspeed above the minimum threshold, constant and stable climb, peak pitch was 2 degrees per second, roll was well controlled during takeoff, staying within the safe range, positive climb established after takeoff, minimum takeoff speed was successfully achieved. A little bit of a read there of 5 knot crosswind within limits as well, and it shows you granular takeoff roll most of the runway, and then we went airborne there 2/3 of the way, 3/4 of the way down. Initial climb up that first bit in blue, which is really cool. We got all of those graphs on the right hand side showing us pitch, roll, altitude and vertical speed. On to climb, same again, it's tracking all of that, and it shows us end of climb 39,000 feet achieved literally on the edge of that Lincolnshire coastline. And in that, total fuel burn 1,016 kilograms. Loads of data. Cruise, same again. Monitoring all of that sort of stuff. Very nice stable cruise. A couple of high levels of roll there, just as we're maintaining our route along the way by the looks of it. And then with descent again, a couple of high degree rolls up to about 25 degrees by the looks of it, 21 degrees as we fly that kind of midpoint of the arrival there. Altitude, very smooth controlled descent, and a vertical speed was fluctuating throughout as we're changing speeds and things. Landing's the big one, isn't it? Let me see. So touchdown zone, 67% score it's given me there, but it's right in the middle of the touchdown zone, look, which I'm very happy with. And as you saw, the landing was actually pretty good, I thought. Right on the runway centre line. Sink rate at touchdown, minus 228 foot per minute. Average sink rate, 492 feet per minute. So that's indicating a very nice stable approach. Bank angle of 0 degrees, nice and flat. and then it gives us a little bit of an overview of the route. So we can go ahead and press that, look, and it's a little bit like flight radar. We can accelerate the speed. And what this does, I'll just move the map across here. It tracks you from the stand all the way. Just find the airport. Funky old me. All the way through Pushback. Look, as you can see, we've got it on 5 times at the moment, so it's a little bit accelerated. There's our little plane, the icon. Off we go for taxi. And you can see all these different things being tracked as we go, and it's basically replaying all of that for us, which is actually really quite impressive, quite neat. So overwhelmingly a very impressive package. I'm interested to kind of toy a bit more with a couple of profiles. I'm going to set up a few profiles, enjoy career mode a little bit, see how that works in comparison to scheduled mode, have a little look at the kind of house buying bits, skill XP, etc. Off we go. Whee! Lots of things to monitor and track, allowing you to get better. And then of course you press continue, and you can then see we've carried 106 passengers, 2.5 tons of cargo, just over, and then effectively it's telling us now we've got 40 minutes until pushback for the return back to Manchester to complete the day 1. And your logbook shows you all of the stats that we mentioned before, easily accessible once again. But there you go, there's a little intro to Fly the Line for xPlane and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and 2024. Coming very soon. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks for watching.